You just caught us with our little private conversation that we have before we go live. So, welcome everyone. It is Wednesday, I believe.
It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. Half the week is over. I can't believe it. Oh, this is actually a really great topic because I just got back from a conference, we ran live, and we talked a lot about marketing, sales, ideal clients, and all kinds of stuff. But I'm intrigued by the way you describe things. And I find that you and I are on the same page with a lot of things. You describe them in a different way than I describe them, and you teach me new terminology. So I'm ready for this one.
Well, I appreciate that. My goal is to that artsy stuff that feels like I can't quite wrap my arms around it, and bringing it into a realm. Well, let's see if we can put some math on it and see what to tweak next. Let's get our eyes on what it is that we need to actually experiment with, what kind of guesses we need to make, instead of being like, it's not working, I'm going to try something completely different.
Yeah. So how do we figure out the math of marketing? Because I think people just throw spaghetti on the wall and hope that it hits.
Yeah. Which we need to start somewhere, too. Right? We got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Let's be honest. We've all been through that stage, and we still go into that stage sometimes where we just think something's cool. Let's try it and see what happens without actually doing the math behind the effort it's taking.
Yes. To do it. Now we are going to come into marketing. We're going to start with a few assumptions when we start our marketing. We are going to assume that we know what it is that we do for clients. Okay. And we're going to assume that we do it well. And we're going to assume that we understand what the clients are wanting, like what their interior life is like, a little bit on that. Right?
Okay.
Like whether that interior life is saying like, oh my gosh, we have Thanksgiving coming up. I don't want to be embarrassed by my home, or I want to impress my mother-in-law. I want to get her to shut up about, the condition of my house, whatever that interior condition is.
Yeah.
The effect that we have of walking into a house and being able to go like, oh, this is home, or whatever that piece is, or, oh, that's super impressive. That's super unique. Oh, that is so Nancy. Yes, this is a Nancy home. Whatever that effect is, I'm assuming that you know what it is at this point. Okay.
So a designer needs to understand their wow factor, basically.
Why them? Is it because that they're brave with color? Is it because that they know how to reuse and really bring home the ancestry element? Like, what is it that you bring to the table, and that why people love you, right?
That's a unique selling proposition.
Yes. And why that is pre-marketing is because marketing is people understanding what it is that you do, what that means for them, and finding those and articulating that in a way that they are going to raise their hand and say, I'd like more information. The end of a marketing cycle is not a sale. The end of the marketing cycle is when somebody raises their hand and self-identifies that either they want more information, they want to follow you, they want you for some reason. And then your sales cycle comes next after that, because they're like, yep, that's me. So it's the math of are we getting enough people to raise their hand and say, yes, I am your person. Tell me more. Okay. So you have the message that you are telling people, what it is that you're saying, what they are receiving, and what is the pool of people with whom you are talking about that thing, your thing, your
interior design services.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, a lot of people mistake this for, I am posting on Instagram. I am putting things up. I am putting up a billboard. The missing element there that you don't know is how many of my people that I resonate with are seeing that number of people and how they're resonating. So if you have a group of 100 people and there's one person that would kind of qualify there's one person in that group of 100 that would qualify, that is like, oh, she's got my style, she's got my language, but there's only one in that group of 100, you only have the option of that one person is going to be one of them that raises their hand.
Is that worth your time?
Right. So we need to know the population density of who is seeing, hearing your message. And then we need to know, is your message, the way you are saying it, resonating? Is it giving that true, is it ringing true? is the tuning fork. Bong. Have you ever listened to a
Is
tuning
it
fork?
connecting with them?
Is it connecting? So yeah, you might be putting stuff up on Instagram, but if the message is wrong, or if it's like not even getting in front of the right people and you're just putting it up there and running away.
Biggest complaint is that they're not yet in front of the right people.
Yes. So here's where the bravery comes in. Do you go and introduce yourself? And how do you do that in the different elements? Are you reaching out and DMing? Are you going out to BNI groups and introducing yourself? How are you finding the population, the group of people that has a high density of your people in it to go talk to? And are you going out and talking, or are you hiding? Yes.
Okay. So once you find there's a book, The Blue Ocean or Red Ocean. What do you know that book? Red Ocean?
Yes.
So it's basically talks a lot about how the blue ocean is, I think I'm saying it right. I might be slightly off of my colors, but the blue ocean, and then you're looking for the red ocean where your people are.
I think the red ocean is the bloody one.
Okay, so opposite, like I said, my memory. Okay, so the red ocean is the world. Where's your blue ocean of your dense ideal clients? Where do they hang out?
Right. Okay. Yes.
So that's first. Get that, the math of marketing. Find out where your people are, and then
you want to make sure that your messaging is correct. So a couple months ago, I had a speaking engagement that I never should have said yes to. I never should have said yes to, but I say yes to all speaking engagements. Pay my fee. Yes. Does this sound like it? There's so many more questions I've learned that I should have asked. So I walk into this room, and I walk into the back, and I look ahead, and the entire audience is gray and bald. They are older, male. They have been in business. They have departments. They have been in business for 20, 30 years. They are not my target audience, right?
So what were you talking about?
People. Out of those 70 people in that room, there were probably two that were like, that were very engaged and receptive to what I had to say, because that is the part of business. They were in the phase of business of the people with whom I speak. They were not in business 40, 50 years like the rest of the room. Not a great use of my time. Not a great use of my time.
But you got paid.
Yes, I got paid. Yes. But it was not the regular
the sales opportunity that you normally would have.
Right.
If you were in front of your ideal client, right?
Yes.
So I just went live. There's 120 designers. They're all at different levels, but there's a certain percentage of them that are perfect for my Profit Insider Academy.
Yes, right? And the amount of time that goes into crafting one of these presentations and customizing it for the industry and that type of thing, it was off. It was off. Not my people.
How'd you do though?
Well, for the people in the back, I'm a pretty good speaker. I'm a really good speaker. And so I was able to turn around these old grumpy guys at the front row. They were kind of twisting my words and, being grumpy about it and disagreeing. And I was like, oh, did I say that? I am so sorry. If you heard me say that, tell me what you took from that, and by the end of it, he was like, okay, I'll stay. You convinced me. I'll stay and hear what you have to say. He literally.
Oh my God, he was going to walk out.
That to me.
Oh my God.
So I was able to win them over, but it wasn't nearly as impactful as it usually is.
Oh, okay.
Not my audience.
Right. So now you're in front of a people, not your audience, even though you got paid, but it didn't feel useful.
Right. Not nearly as useful. The messaging wasn't quite that tuning fork. I did speak to a few afterwards who they were sitting in the back of the room, the younger women that had been in the business for only a few years. And they were like, oh my gosh, yes. But they felt embarrassed to be raising their hand and engaging when the rest of the room was like, this doesn't apply to me.
Oh my God. I hate when I look out on a group of doubters.
Yeah, totally a group of downers, but I speak old man, so I did all right,
Old stubborn man speak.
Old stubborn man speak, yes.
Okay.
So the first element is your audience. And if you are looking at something that is very broad, like social media, you need to find a way that you are going to niche down into your people in a way that they want to talk. Think of it as if you were coming into a networking group. You walk into you're like, okay, my town is having having a networking event so for blah blah blah. Networking is not my favorite thing, but if you know how to do it, you walk into a room, you see the room, and everybody is equally uncomfortable. The good marketers are going to go and introduce themselves anyway. And this goes for social media as well. You go and you introduce yourself anyway. And what you are looking for is you are looking for the people you want to root for. You're not looking for anybody. You are looking for the people you want to be working with because they're so much fun. You are looking for the people that you will go the extra mile for and enjoy going the extra mile for.
Yeah.
Look for the people you are rooting for. Those are your people. And then you talk to them one-on-one.
Talk to them? You mean talk to people? We have to talk to people to get business?
Not in a way of, here, look at what I can do for you. Do you want more information?
No.
From the perspective of, I root for you and I am just interested in you as a person. And what ought to come from that is they are now receptive to hearing what you have to say. Now, the other part of the math is what you are saying. Are you saying it in a way that is resonating? Not that you're saying the wrong thing or saying it da 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 da, but is that speaking to that little voice in the back of their head? And I do not want you to go for perfection on this. I want you to go from getting 1 out of 1,000, going back, learning from what you said, taking another guess, trying it again, and now getting 10 out of 1,000. And now taking that messaging that you were doing and going back and learning, making another guess, make another experiment, and maybe now you're going to be getting 1 out of 10. So it is a cycle of practicing, making sure that I know that the people I'm talking to are actually my people. And now I'm going to tweak my message so that I'm really getting in their head. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's totally me.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is figure out what you're actually saying to them, to be excited for them about this stage of whatever business they're in, right? Just be excited for them. Be a really good listener. And then as you're listening, you may be able to identify something that you provide that they may need, but don't just go in for the kill.
Right, because right now we are marketing. We want them to be excited to be in our world, not reluctant, like, okay, fine, I'll listen to you, or okay.
Yeah.
Be their cheerleader, know that they exist, right? And once you have a portion, if you have a pool of like, I know if I walk into this type of room, 75% of them are going to be my people. Okay, now I know that room, that group, that whatever has 100 people in it. I know that 75 of them, I have something to offer them, but they don't know about me. Is my message getting them to self-identify? I know my portion. Now I know that with my message, usually I can encourage, or this inspires this many people to follow me, to reach out, to join my email list, whatever that next piece is. So we can tweak the message or we can tweak the room. And the combination of those is going to be what gets people to raise their hand, and we can get the math of how many raise their hand from this type of scenario to enter into our sales cycle, which is, like I said, a different beast.
Gotcha. Okay. How many people do you have? Well, find your people. How many people do you need to be in a room with that are your ideal client? How many people do you actually talk to and listen to see what they actually need? And then you're able to provide them, hopefully, or it's just a touch point at that stage. And eventually it gets to the point where they would like to hire you because they know you and like you.
Yes. So it's the connecting in a way that they can't ignore you, right? If you're at the end of your rope in marketing, you got to connect. You can't be passive about this. You have to go make your introduction in a way that somebody can't ignore you. You'd be rude at a networking event if you came up to somebody and you said, "Hi, I'm Megan. I've been in the accounting world for 20 years and networking things make me awkward. Who are you? What's going on? What brings you here?" It'd be really rude for them to be like,
Yeah, that would be really rude. I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about how many people they have to talk to?
We don't know yet. How many people have you been talking to? How many people, and how's that going for you, right? Like, we need a starting point of what you have been doing. If you're starting out from bare scratch, one, I'd make sure that you do know what it is that you provide and you know how your skills lead up. Because remember, that's just a prerequisite coming into the marketing realm.
Right.
Um, find out. Go find
Well, you
out.
know what? It's actually interesting. I've never looked at it this way. Whenever I talk to you, I think of ideas, right? I think to myself, I just came back from Luann Live. How many people did I talk to? How many people did Leslie talk to? And then how is that going to convert? And then, right, you compare it to how many people attend the conference, how many people you talk to, right? To really start getting aware of that, you can fine tune your sales to, I need to talk to 100 people to get 10. I need to connect with 100 people for 10 people to talk to me, for 5 people to have the possible need for me, which then goes down to, let's say, 3 people who can afford me, and I closed 2 of them, like something
Yep.
like that. That's the math of marketing, right?
Mhm.
How many followers do you need on Instagram? How often do you need to post? What kinds of posts, if you're connecting to your right people, in order to convert it to how
Yes.
many clients? And this is what I call reverse engineering your income. But isn't that hard to do?
Yes, especially if you are passive about it. Especially if you are not going out there and doing the math. Like, I had a client once where we discovered when she goes out and she talks to people, she talks to 5 people a day. Just like not even like marketing herself, but she was really great just introducing, making friends wherever she went. And she would wear 5 bracelets on one hand, and every time she introduced herself to somebody new, she'd put the bracelet on another hand.
Oh, that's an interesting trick. See, I was going to tell you, as a body language trainer, one of the tricks I tell people is when you go to a marketing event, wear something that looks different that people will comment on, or
Mm,
you then notice other people, like their a pin, a brooch, glasses, anything that's different and unique. If you're wearing something yourself like that, which designers tend to do, most, like a lot
yes,
of them do,
yes.
it makes you stand out and it makes people talk to you, right? So shy people, there are tricks. And I teach this in my Profit Insider Academy, tricks to making yourself less anxious and letting people come up to you. But you're saying just you need to proactively also do it in order to increase your numbers.
Yeah, and I mean, there's certainly, hopefully, that's the goal, right? To get to a point where your reputation precedes you. You don't have that coming out of the gate. That's fantastic when you can grow your business into a point where your reputation is like, oh my gosh, I want Nancy. Like,
Right.
nobody but Nancy, and I'm going to pursue her. That is on a different realm of a business than what we are speaking of right now.
Right. I mean, you're talking more like interior designers. I'll give an example. Years ago, an interior designer in New York City, I was telling her she has to join a charitable organization, something hopefully that was also meaningful for her, but to gain ideal clients. She joined an organization. They had a big gala. She didn't want to go that night, even though we had talked about her going.
Mhm.
She went, and I had to nudge her a little bit on my business helpline. And she walked in, and 3 people went, "Oh my God, you're the one who's doing the lives. I know you." Like, they felt like they knew her because she's doing her marketing consistently across many platforms.
Mhm.
And then when she came home, she's like, "Oh my God, I had so many great conversations. I think I might actually create new relationships and get business out of this."
Absolutely. So, your marketing efforts, her like doing her lives, those were her honing her message, right? Like, part of it was outreach, I'm sure, but that is the giving of the message. That is not the finding of the people. And she was honing it, and people were like, "That's the message. That's the message. That's the message." And then she provided the opportunity by showing up for them to self-identify. Hey, that's me. Hey, that's me.
I like it. Do you recommend reaching out to people through private messaging? Because I get a lot of those and I pretty much delete them
It
all.
depends. There are people who do it right and there are people who do it wrong, right? Like,
Okay.
there are people that just all the time are like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. Hey, I'm doing this thing. Hey, I'm doing this thing." That's not for me. But
Delete,
if
delete,
somebody reached
delete,
out and
delete.
said, "Hey, I saw your live on Nancy this morning and I liked what you had to say about blah blah blah." And granted, now it public-ish figures, right? Or public-ish. But even reaching out on their own private Instagram where they're posting pictures of their beautiful flowers, like, oh my gosh, I love the color of those phlox. I've never seen phlox those colors before. Where did you find that? Right? And just that little part of rooting for them, part of wanting to root for the people that you serve, you are naturally curious about them. And you're not asking about the color of the phlox because you're trying to like find an in or get something from them. It's like you're truly interested in the color of the phlox in the picture that they posted of their lake home or whatever it is. You are truly curious. And from there, curiosity is reciprocal. Like, oh, who's this person?
But don't you think the problem sometimes is that people aren't interested? They're just doing it from their marketing. And that's the shift.
That's the shift. That creates further problems down the road because now you're working for people that you don't really you're not curious about, you don't really care about, you just want into their pocketbook. And I could go on, I could go about this.
Well, me too. Listen, my very first coach had 2,000 people 200 people in a group. And she literally just brought anyone into the group who would put up the money instead of determining whether they were a really good fit for the group, which pisses me off because I don't do that. I don't just put people into things. If I don't think I can help you, I'm going to tell you to go to someone else or you don't need any help. But so many people will just do that, right? So interior designers can slam people into programs that they're trying to sell as opposed to really listening to the need.
Yes.
And deciding whether they want to work with them for the need that person has. That's your choice.
And now you have a red flag client that is taking up all of your time and your energy, and you're going at home at night just exhausted and sorry you took them on in the first place. Find the people you want to work for.
Find the people you want to work for, try to get among them, have valuable conversations that you're truly enthusiastic about them, create the relationship. Then if they eventually need you, they know where you are because they've created a friendship with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds so hard when you're intimidated by it.
It does. But if you come back to who is it that I am rooting for, right? Like if I were to go to a football game and I'm going to a Kansas City Chiefs football game and Patrick Mahomes, and I have a spot right by the tunnel, you bet your butt I'm going to reach my hand out for him to give me a high five when he walks by.
You're so
right?
You're so funny.
Like that's not intimidating to reach out for a high five from somebody you admire. And I think that actually takes the intimidation factor out of marketing when you are so focused on what you love about the person that you want to work with instead of please pick me, please pick me, please pick me, please pick me.
I could talk about this for hours because so many things are going through my head, but yes is the biggest thing going through my head. If it's funny because sometimes I'll walk into a room and nobody will talk to me. Mm-hmm. And I know some of them know me because they're looking at me, right? But they won't talk to me. And it's a funny feeling, right? So get the guts to talk to the people you want to talk to. Don't waste your time talking to the people you don't, right? And use your time wisely to create the relationships that will create the math of your marketing. How many people do you have to talk to in order to get how many clients a quarter or a month or a year? Trying to figure that out is not easy, but certainly worthwhile, I think.
Yes. And there's not like a shortcut either. The shortcut is deciding to do it and doing it. That's the shortcut. The shortcut is the actual relationships. And I know I hated that answer when I was first starting out and I didn't fully understand. I was like, well, other people just put out Facebook ads and they get results. Why can't I just put out Facebook ads and get results?
Because you'll waste a lot of money and not get results that they're lying about, or they happen to hit it right and it was an anomaly, or they have a huge following and people are just going to buy whatever they tell them to buy, right? There's lots of factors. Facebook ads, like the math of marketing? Have you seen Facebook ads really kill it for anyone in your world?
In my world? I've seen Facebook ads work for a few marketers that I respect, and I've also seen Facebook ads work poorly for marketers I don't respect. It's very telling because there is a churn and burn that works for a while. But they have a lack of that loving relationship with their clients. There's actually a quite disdainful feeling that you get from some of these that are like churn and burn, and that never
Yeah.
works out in the end for them because it stops working. Their reputation gets out there and they keep throwing more money because it's worked before.
Right.
But there's also those where it does, where they have spent the time and the money and the personal relationships really figuring out what works and why it works, so that it's the complete opposite of a churn and burn of, we know that this works for you and we know why it wouldn't work for you, so we're doing everything in our power to make sure that those routes where it didn't work, like, we don't want you to ever get to that point. They're truly cheering for the people who are buying their things.
All right, so true enthusiasm for your job is what I'm hearing. Like, not just like, well, I do it because that's what makes me money and it pays the bills. We're talking, if you're in this creative field of interior design and you love what you do, find the people who you're enthusiastically sharing what you do with for the right reasons, and that you truly want to bring them the joy that they're looking for in their project.
You're on to me.
All right. But this is what goes back. All right. I'm going to like super simplify. Happy people want to hang out with happy people.
Oh my gosh.
Happy people want to hang out with happy people. Happy interior designers are going to get happy clients. Grumpy interior designers are going to get grumpy interior designers.
High five. Nailed it.
Right. But I will tell you, I have had a couple of clients. We've never quite figured out why, but I have theories of why they continue to attract really painful clients. And I think it's because they are just super nice. Super
boundaries.
Nice. No boundaries. And then when you have that super nice personality with no boundaries, you want to help everyone. Help everyone. And not stick to your service models that make you money. Just go like, well, they really need help. Like
pleasers.
Okay.
Pleasers.
Anything else about the math of marketing?
Let's stick with that for now. Let's chew on that and see what kind of questions and discussions come up from that. Because the next realm is the sales of it, which that's like, okay, who raised their hand? What else do they need to know? And how am I inviting them? How am I giving them the gift of going second by making this super easy? So
making it super easy will attract and get you referrals, right? So that is another great conversation. All right, but you guys will have to wait till next month, possibly, for that topic. But I do think this is really important, that you understand consistency in your marketing, true connections with people by both social media and in person, and finding the ideal client where they hang out, and then just getting in there and creating those relationships because you really care about them and you're a really good listener and you create relationships.
Yes.
Sounds so easy.
Yes, right? Getting them to raise their hand and say that might apply to me later. I want to hang out.
Right. I want to hang out. I want to write down your information. I want to go check you out. So, all right, Megan, tell everyone how they can find you and what you can help them with.
Come on over to megandahle.com. There are links where we can have a conversation. Bespoke services. I'm very interested in not putting you into a very specific program because it's accounting, right? It's the number stuff that are very specific to you and your unique business in a way that can't really be put in a box. So the bespoke services might include some one-on-one coaching. It might just include some cleanup, or it might just be a recommendation of, actually, you don't need this type of help yet. Go over here and use this instead.
And they get 15 minutes on your calendar?
15, 20 minutes. I always put a little extra at the end because I block more time on my calendar at the end just in case.
I know. It's a necessity. Either you have to go get a cup of coffee, maybe use a ladies' room, or you go over in your session.
Yeah. You see really interesting conversations going on, and I don't like to have to be like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go. Your 15 minutes is up. Bye. All right, everyone, go check out megandahle.com for everything related to your numbers of running your business. Megan's a great sounding board to think about bigger decisions in your business. also, and just discussing your trajectory. Oh my goodness, my dog's in my room and she's going to bark during our live. So it's time to go. So get on Megan's calendar and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, Megan. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Nancy. Thanks.